In this lesson, I will show you how the Trim Entities and Extend Entities tools work. With these tools, as their names indicate, you can trim and extend objects. As you can see, I have already created a sketch to show you a few examples using those tools. I will start by activating the Trim Entities tool, which can be found in the Sketch ribbon. Once I activate the tool, the Property Manager palette activates, and there I can find the different methods I can use to trim objects. The most used method is Power Trim. We can use Power Trim to trim multiple sketch entities by clicking and dragging the cursor over them. Every object that the cursor crosses will be trimmed. To get a better understanding of what I mean, in the first example I have created a shape which consists of a circle and two ellipses. With the Power Trim active, I will drag the cursor to trim the parts of the ellipses and the circle that I do not need to create my final shape. Now I will show you how the next method works. The next method is called Trim Corner. This tool extends or trims two sketch entities until they intersect at a virtual corner. In this method, I have to be careful which side I select because the side I will select will be retained. So I will click on the right side of the horizontal line first and then on the bottom side of the vertical line. As you can see, the corner is created. The next trimming method is called Trim Away Inside. With this tool, I can trim segments that lie inside two bounding entities. To see what this means, I will activate this method and I will select the two vertical lines to set them as boundaries. Now I will create a selection window to select all the lines. As expected, only the line segments that were between the two verticals were trimmed. The next method does the exact opposite from Trim Away Inside, which means that it trims segments outside of two bounding entities. So I will activate this trimming method and I will select the two vertical lines to set them as boundaries. Now I will create a selection window to select all the lines. Now, as you can see, only the inner segments of the horizontal lines remain. Last but not least, there is the Trim to Closest method. The Trim to Closest tool trims a curve or a line up to the nearest boundary. So I will activate this trimming method and I will click on the lower side of the vertical line. Notice that the line was trimmed up to its intersection with the first sloped line. Now that we saw all the trimming methods, I will press Escape to deactivate the tool and move on to the next tool, which is the Extend Entities tool. As its name indicates, the Extend Entities tool extends an object up to a boundary. In the next example, you can see the shape I created with Power Trim in the first example, and now I will restore it to its original state using the Extend Entities tool. To activate the Extend Entities tool, I will click on the arrow next to the Trimmed Entities, which can be found on the Sketch ribbon. Once I activate the tool, all I have to do is select an object to extend it. So I will create the two ellipses first. When I hover the cursor over the first ellipse, a preview appears showing me the result of the extension. Since this is the desired result, I will click to extend the ellipse. I will repeat the same process for all the curves until the shape is restored. In the next example, I want to extend the sloped line up to the second vertical line. So I will hover the cursor over the line I want to extend, and I will click once the preview of the extension appears. I will do the same one more time to extend the line up to the desired point. When I finish extending objects, all I have to do is press Escape to deactivate the tool. So this was how you can trim and extend objects in SolidWorks.